All right, Chapter 2, The Freedom Tunnel. Riverside Park is a long, thin strip next to the Hudson River. It's just 5 blocks from my house. Hidden underneath the park is a tunnel that's nearly 3 miles long. It's called the Freedom Tunnel. Back in the 1980s, the train line that went through the tunnel was shut down for a while, and a bunch of homeless people and graffiti artists set up a tent city down there. They were called the Mole People. Hardly anybody knows about the Freedom Tunnel. Well, I know about it. My best friend Zeke knows about it, and now you know about it. But pretty much nobody else does. Iron gates cover the archways now to prevent people from going onto the tracks and getting run over by trains. Zeke and I hang out in Riverside Park all the time after school. His full name is Ezekiel, but everyone calls him Zeke. Zeke is African American, and I'm white. I don't know why I'm bothering to tell you that, but just in case you're interested, that's who we are. Anyway, Zeke and I were hanging out near the Freedom Tunnel one day after school and complaining about our parents, which is what we usually complain about. Zeke was saying that his parents wouldn't let him play some video game because they think it's too violent. I told him that playing video games is a great way to blow off steam, Zeke explained. That way, kids don't become violent in real life. But they weren't buying it. I only have my mom. My dad died a long time ago. I was complaining that my mom won't let me have my own cell phone. Everybody else in 5th grade has a cell phone except me. My mom says that if I had a phone, I'd spend my whole day staring at a screen instead of interacting with the real world. When I tell her that's not going to happen, she comes up with other reasons why I can't have my own phone. I'll lose it, or there's inappropriate stuff online, or companies will be able to track me and invade my privacy. You know, all the usual reasons parents don't want their kids to have phones. I have to admit, she's probably right about that stuff, but I still want a phone. All my friends have one. I told Mom that I need one so I can reach her in case of an emergency, but she wasn't falling for that. Everybody knows that when you get a phone for emergencies, you end up using it to text goofy pictures and stuff to your friends. Hey, are you coming to my birthday party? Zeke asked me out of the blue. When is it? Next Thursday, he told me. I emailed you an invite. Didn't you get it? You didn't reply. I didn't check my email. You need to get a smartphone, dude, Zeke told me. Join the 21st century. I know. It's an escape room party, Zeke said. Escape rooms are lame, I replied, even though I had never been to an escape room and had no idea what they were like. No, this one's supposed to be cool, Zeke told me. They lock you up in a dungeon and you have to figure out how to open a bunch of locks to get out, just like your man Houdini. Come on, it'll be fun. Okay, I guess I'll go, I replied. Suddenly, a train roared through the Freedom Tunnel. We rushed over so we could see through the gate. Trains go all the way up to Albany and Maine on the tracks. I like to watch them go by. It's one of the few places you can see the trains up close. Hey, did you ever put a penny on a train track? Zeke asked me when we peered through the gate. No, why would I do that? I replied. If you put a penny on the track and a train runs over it, the penny gets flattened, like a pancake, he said. It's cool. Couldn't that derail the train? I asked. A penny derail a train? You nuts? Did you ever do that? I asked him. Put a penny on a train track? No, but I heard kids talking about doing it. Sounds like one of those urban legends, I told him. I bet the penny just gets knocked off the track. No, I'm pretty sure it's for real, he replied. The train tracks were just a few feet away on the other side of the gate. You can't climb over the gate because it goes all the way up to the top of the arch. There was no way to lock on, there was no lock on the gate, but it looked like it was all rusted shut. Just for the heck of it, I gave it a yank. It swung open with a loud creaking sound. Zeke and I looked at each other and smiled. You want to do it? We both said at the same time. I will if you will, he said. You got any change on you?" I reached into my pocket and I had a quarter, a nickel, and 4 pennies. I peered inside the dark tunnel. There were signs on the wall: "Keep off the tracks. No trespassing. New York City Police Department." "This is illegal, you know," I pointed out. "So is jaywalking," said Zeke. "What if we get caught?" I asked. "We won't get caught." We tiptoed into the tunnel and closed the heavy gate. It was mostly dark in there, with a little light shining down through the grate in the ceiling. We could see graffiti written on the walls and some rubble scattered around the ground. Something smelled bad. The gravel crunched under our feet. "There are probably rats in here," I said, almost whispering. "I don't want to know what I'm smelling," Zeke said, his voice echoing off the walls in the tunnel. "How often do trains come?" I asked. "All the time," Zeke replied. "My dad takes it to Albany to go to work. They come every half hour or so." "We really shouldn't be doing this," I said. "You hear stories about kids getting killed doing dumb stuff like this." "Dumb kids get killed," Zeke told me. "We're not dumb." Let me say this right here, that putting pennies on tracks is definitely one of those things you shouldn't try at home. It's just stupid and dangerous. But my mom once told me that the human brain isn't fully formed until we're in our 20s, and that's why kids can't be thrown in jail for doing stupid things we sometimes do. Zeke got down on his hands and knees and put his ear against the track. "What are you doing?" I asked him. "You want to get your head crushed?" "They say that if you put your ear against the steel track, you can feel the vibrations of the train coming from miles away," he told me. "That's probably another one of those urban legends." "No, it's true," Zeke insisted. "Hey, I think I feel something. A train is coming. Quick, put the coins on the track." I looked around to see if anybody was watching before digging the coins out of my pocket again and carefully laying them in a row on the track. I could hear the rumbling of the train now, and I could see 2 headlights in the distance. "I see it," I said. "This is gonna be cool." Zeke scampered out of the way. I was about to do the same when I felt a tug on my left foot. "Wait up," I shouted. "I think my shoelace is stuck." "Very funny," Zeke replied. "I mean it," I shouted. "The tip is stuck under the rail." "Well, pull it out," Zeke yelled at me. I tried to pull it out. "I can't," I shouted back. "I can't see it. It's too dark in here." Now we could both see the lights of the train approaching in the distance. This was not funny. This was dead serious. My shoelace was somehow stuck under the rail. The thought crossed my mind. I could die in this tunnel. I fumbled with the lace, trying to get it loose. "The engineer will stop the train if he has to," Zeke shouted as he waved his hands in the air. "He must be able to see us by now." But the train was not slowing down. Nobody was putting on the brakes. Why would they? The engineer probably wasn't even looking ahead. There was no reason to think anybody would be inside the tunnel. The rumble had become a thunderous roar that echoed off the walls as the train got closer. I kept tugging at my shoelace, desperately trying to get it loose. Sweat was pouring down my forehead. I wiped it away with my sleeve. "Hurry up!" shouted Zeke. I looked up. The train was closer. I felt my heart racing. In a few seconds, the train would be right on top of me. "Forget about the lace!" shouted Zeke. "Just pull your sneaker off." "I can't!" I shouted back. "The knot is too tight." Zeke crawled over to try to pull my sneaker off, but he couldn't get it off either. "Yank it! I'm trying!" There was no more time. The train was right on top of us. There was nothing we could do. "Roll!" Zeke shouted as he dove out of the way. I rolled my whole body over, stretching out so I was far away from the rail as possible. My shoelace was taut, still attached. If I was going to lose my foot, that was the price I'd pay for my stupidity. I just didn't want to lose my life. The train sounded like a rocket taking off. I couldn't communicate with Zeke anymore. The noise was too loud. I covered my ears to block it out. As the train roared past, it must have sliced through my shoelace because I fell backward, landing on the rocks next to the train tracks. and hitting the ground hard. And that's all I remember. All right, end of chapter 2. Bye now.